Okay, man, well, let's take a look at a fight coming up Saturday night, scheduled on UFC 260. The fight that I'm interested in is a fight on the undercard between Jared Gooden and Abubakar Nurmagomedov. It's a prelim fight. I thought Nurmagomedov and Gooden was a good matchup, and it's some interesting storytelling going on here. And so sometimes when we see these names associated with bigger names, we automatically assume that they're going to have some type of advantage. And just because he's fought in the professional fight league, we assume that he's fought better competition. And not necessarily. Gooden has fought some decent level guys. It's the numbers under the hood that you have to pay attention to. Abubakar, 79% winning ratio versus his opponents, who have overall a collective of about 64% win ratio. Jared Gooden is coming in at about 81% win ratio against opponents who have about a 62% winning ratio. That's pretty good matchmaking. That's a lot of work to go into the numbers. And you know what? That's what those guys get paid for, to match guys up adequately and fairly. From my own studies, the best matches are the ones where the numbers are closely related. You're going to get fantastic, amazing finishes when the numbers are somewhat lopsided, but you get tired of that after a while, because it's kind of like the old Tyson effect in the 90s, and that's not something you can get from YouTube. You can't get the mental fatigue that people went through of watching Tyson just go through opponent after opponent, because after a while you started to wonder if these guys were even worth the effort. This is a pretty good matchup with those ratios. 81% win ratio for Gooden, 79% win ratio for Nurmagomedov. So both men are coming in with fairly good records. 17-5 for Gooden, 15-3-1 for Nurmagomedov. This is their second time in the UFC. Let's go under the hood and look. Nurmagomedov lost his first fight. He lost against Nurmagomedov Mustayev, and he was stopped in the first round. And then he was stopped by Kush in PFL and choked out. And then he lost to David Zawada in his last outing in the UFC, his UFC debut. The trick you gotta pay attention to is that David Zawada was only about 73% winning ratio overall, and he had no wins in the UFC. So his first win came via Abu. Gooden, on the contrast, his UFC debut, he lost to Alan Jouban, who had a 70% win ratio overall, but he was making his debut against a guy who had already been in the UFC, was 7-5 in the UFC with a 58% win ratio. From what I heard, because I don't know all the details, but from what I heard, he took the fight on short notice, and if he was able to perform that well on a short notice, then I think that with a full camp that he is going to do a lot better. And he's already faced top level competition, in my opinion, because we know that Jouban has wins over Muhammad Bilal and Mike Perry, which are no walks in the park. Gooden's the favorite in this fight, and he should win it. How they win? Okay. If Abubakar is going to win this fight, what he has to do is do it the way guys who have done well against Gooden, he's got to do it the same way. And he does have those skills in his skill set. He's got to take him down, press him up against cage, and put pressure on him. So a good model for that fight is the recent Derek Brunson taking on Kevin Holland fight. Just taking away the striking tools from the better striker and putting him on the ground. Now, Abubakar has some striking himself, but he tends to get caught in the middle because he is like an earlier version of Derek Brunson, where he's just going a little too long with the combos, a little too wild, and can get caught in the middle, and that's going to be his detriment. The smartest thing for him to do is come out, boom, 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 shoot, boom, 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 take this guy down, and pass the guard. Stay out of the guard. That's where he got in trouble with Zawada. He should just pass the guard and pressure game on the ground and ground and pound and possibly get the win. Gooden, on the other hand, might have a little bit more work to do. And one is he's a little heavy on his front leg when delivering strikes. especially in combos. He'll keep them kind of straight, but I may suggest that he throw in some uppercuts for this fight, just to catch Abu changing level. Shoot that jab and be a little bit more fluid. I watched some of his earlier fights. He can be fluid if he wants to be, but as of late he tends to be a little heavy on the front leg, and he has to watch it because that's going to lead to leg kicks, and also it's going to allow Abu to duck under his punches and take him down, and then he's going to spend all his time having to work back up, and then that's going to cost him a lot of strength and endurance, which in his fight against Julian Williams was just really how that fight played out. When you have guys coming in with relatively close win ratios and one guy's able to just keep pressure on the other guy and tire him out, that's the equalizer. And if Abu can do that, Abu's going to win. If Gooden can stay light on his feet, use the footwork, use the powerful punching, keep it in the middle. He does a subtle stalking thing with his pressure. He doesn't really chase down guys, which is really good for this fight. He kind of just takes away space. He doesn't exactly walk you down. He doesn't push you back. He just takes away space. And if he can take away space, keep his punches straight, drop an occasional uppercut, then he is going to definitely win this fight. And that's the way I see it. It's the classic striker versus grappler. The grappler's got to get him down. Gooden's got to keep it standing. And now, this is not to negate Abu's striking skills or Gooden's jiu-jitsu skills. He is a brown belt, but when looking at fights like this, sometimes that conventional wisdom just says, hey, stick to the thing that you're just a bit more dominant at doing in this type of fight. So that's the way I see it. I see the fight going for Jared Gooden. The distance, quite possibly, but I think that if Abu gets a little reckless, I see Gooden taking him out in the first round. I am Coach Sess, and you've had Words with the Mad Coach.